So one of the things that went through my mind as I wrote the comment for April this year was this concept of change. And what stimulated my thinking about that was two particular quotations. The first one, and in fact it would be interesting for you to try and figure out who this quotation should be correctly attributed to, but I saw it used by Deputy Chief Justice Dikgang Moseneke. And the quote is, "We cannot direct the winds of change, but we can adjust the sails." The second quote, which I love, is that when the winds of change rage, some people build shelters and others build windmills. And to me that encapsulates so nicely some of the challenges that we see in a country like South Africa. Change is absolutely essential. And one of the points I was trying to make in my comment was that unless we address change right now, it's going to be too late. Let me contextualize that. And the context in which I founded that statement was the condition of our basic education in South Africa. Now I feel it's quite pertinent for somebody involved in a magazine like Electricity and Control to speak about basic education. And the reason is in fact very, very simple. Basic education is the foundation stone of the future of this economy and in fact this subcontinental region. Now to put that into context, we all know that there are problems associated with basic education. When I walk into any industry or any organization and I ask them, what are the challenges facing South Africa? One of the first things they will tell me is that basic education is a problem. My follow-up question is, well, I understand that and I agree with you. What are you doing about it? And quite frankly, that question or that comment is often met with complete disbelief. The sense that there's nothing we can do about it. I pay my tax and that's really the government's problem. But that's not true. The point I want to make in this particular comment is that we, as South Africans, have to be the agents of change. So if we want to change basic education, we've actually got to figure out what it is that we can do on an individual basis and in fact on a corporate basis. What is it that we can do to make basic education better? And incidentally, there are many ideas that immediately spring to mind. But allied to that very closely, I think, is the following concept. That industry in South Africa is driven by a capitalist view, which I fully subscribe to. However, we've got to understand that this is not Europe, this is not the United States, and unless we as large corporations figure out how to do what we do in a different way and attempt in every way possible to uplift society, we are actually going to face a particularly torrid headwind in due course. These to me are massive challenges that we face, but I am convinced that every South African can make a difference to that change, but they've got to decide that they want to do that. Now let me tell you a little bit about basic education and why I consider it to be so important. If we take an arbitrary date in the future, let's say 2030, South Africans can say we need so many engineers in our economy. Now we understand that engineers don't grow on trees, they need to be educated. And that educational process is a minimum of 4 years at university, followed by at least 3 years working in industry under a mentor until they reach the point where they are registrable as professional engineers. What that means is you can trust these folk with any project, they can sign off on it, and fundamentally they're not going to kill people. Here's the honest truth. If 2030 is our target, these future engineers are in grade 3 in our school system right now. There are no more out there. And that implies that we need to change everything that happens at school as of now for our grade 3 learners so that by 2030 we can have the quality and the number of engineers that this economy needs. Do tell me if you find out who that first quote could be attributed to.